been 3 years. Well, yeah, because we're in 2024, so it's yeah, I think that was probably fall 2019. So at the time, I was um, I was looking at joining HPC because I recognized that there was something that was preventing me from being a successful coach. And I didn't know what it was. I believed I was confident in knowing how to do what I was doing, but there was these huge mountains in front of me called entrepreneurship and solopreneur and all that kind of stuff, and just the business side of it and sales. So I had a lot of mindset challenges when it came to sales, right? At least in my mind, I know through HBC, it's like we don't sell coaching, right? But even that was a new concept for me. When I first started off, I was trying to sell coaching, and so how do I even talk about it without feeling sleazy? And for me, I'm coming out of the church space as a pastoral coach and wanting to coach pastors. And so typically churches have gotten a bad rap when it comes to talking about money because there's been a lot of misuse of that, things that were said wrong, even in the name of God, to get people to give money. And so I had a personal thing about talking about money without looking creepy and without looking like I was, um, had an ulterior motive or lacked integrity. And so for me, that was a big, and I didn't know it was a thing until I was talking with you. I didn't know that was a thing for me, that was kind of lurking in there and creating some self sabotage when it comes to me even bringing up what I do to help to serve people, because I did not want to be seen as somebody who was trying to do something for money or that, because I've seen some of that. I mean, I've seen, like, my dad was a pastor, and of course I was a pastor and still am, and that was way, far away from where uh never even thought about mishandling money or misusing money.
Yeah.
But because I saw how other people did it and I saw how it hurt people, I just didn't want to even be seen, even potentially,
Mm.
as doing something that was just for money or trying to get money from people. So that was a huge block for me when it came to, I mean, how am I gonna how am I gonna have a business without clients, and how am I gonna have clients without talking about money? And so one of my so what okay, so one of my first calls with you, you challenged me about that, and you were talking about, like, my offer was like $5,000, right? For I think 4 or 5 months of coaching or something like that. And so he asked me if I had challenges with meeting new people and talking to people. I was like, no. As a matter of fact, I've got a meeting coming up. A friend of mine connected with a pastor in the city I just moved to, and I'm going to be meeting with him and talking about stuff. And so we talked through some things about that. And long story short, I ended up talking to him for like 3 hours and did not offer anything. And so I came back to you and I was like, yeah. And here's what you said. You said, okay, your offer is $5,000, and you didn't even share with him. And you said not sharing it, that conversation cost you $5,000. And I was like, crap. you know, and then there was another person who was talking to me about coaching and things like this, and I was kind of downplaying it. I'm like, well, he's got a family uh, of I think 2 or 3 kids, and he just started a school for his master's degree. And I know the church that he works at, and they're kind of low on budget, and so um, I didn't offer it to him either. I didn't offer my coach because I just felt bad for him. And then you're like, well, he could afford the school, and he was going on vacation. Right? He was going on a vacation. And then so he helped me start thinking, like, in my mind, I didn't want to talk about money because I didn't want to look sleazy. And then I kept making excuses for other people about why they couldn't afford my services, but they clearly could afford other things. And so they're spending money on other things. They're just choosing not to give me that money. They're just choosing not to give me. And I'm like, okay, I really need to tweak this. Like this is a problem. But you really challenge my two conversations with you were game-changing conversations because one, it helped me to see some of my issues, helped me to discover that fear of looking and where it came from, and that fear of looking sleazy, salesy, and giving other people reasons why they can't. Saying no for people was another thing for me in my mind.
Okay.
So I went from trying to find people to value what I was doing for $5,000 to a whole nother niche where on the discovery call, I told them what I do and unpack their problems. I'm like, yeah, I think I can help you with that. And so then they hired me, but they said, give us a proposal with three different things on it, three different layers. So one was workshops and one-on-one coaching for everybody. The other one was like workshops and maybe coaching every other month. And the other one was like just workshops. So there are three tiers of pricing. And I said, give us the three tiers and we'll look at where our budget is and we'll go from there. So they came back and said, we want the top tier of the pricing. And that was my first contract with them, which was like I think $25,000, something like that. And they said, this is what we decided to do. There were some other monies we had budgeted for some other things that we canceled that so we can afford the top tier of your training and coaching. And here's my point. On the one hand, there were people who were choosing to spend money on other things than to spend it working with me. And I was trying to beat my head up against the wall, trying to figure out how can I get them to spend their money with me.
Mm,
On the other hand, there are people who are canceling other expenses so that they could spend their money with me.
mm,
That was a niche gift match.
mm,
I was trying to focus on other people and trying to quote unquote sell them on my gifting and what I have to offer, and that wasn't working. But there are other people out there who are looking for what you have. That's my message to everybody else. They're looking for what you have.
mm,
And so sometimes the conflict is a mismatch in the niche you're focusing on and what you have to offer. But there are other people. While some people will say, no, it's not really worth it. Other people will say, we will cancel other expenses so we can afford you.
mm.
Finding those that the niche with the gift match is huge. Is huge. But just helping me be aware of where these hangups were and what the shifts were. Um, that's why I'm saying it was a big thing for me. If these two, you know, free conversations were that shifting for me, then certainly I need to get more of this because I need to overcome what these challenges are. I need to discover what they are, overcome what they are, and learn how to show up differently. And so that's what I've learned to do is to show up differently. And I don't have. I guess the reason why I talk about our conversation a lot is because I'm so far from that now, where um, I've created packages that are a $14,000 4-day training. Um, I've got a 12-month contract that was $87,000 this past year, and I have no problem saying this is what it is. This is what it is. It seems like initially the freedom carrot was dangling in front of me, and I think people when they start off being an entrepreneur, they think of what they want to get rid of. They want to get rid of a boss. They want to get rid of clocking in 9 to 5. They want to get rid of all those things, and then they want to pursue these things like the entrepreneurship seems to dangle in front of you, like freedom and more money and less time and more time with your family and all this kind of stuff. But but there's so much work that goes into being a business owner
Mm,
that you're now having to create an entire environment and ecosystem that you didn't have to create before because someone else created everything for you. Someone else created all the SOPs. Someone else created what you do every single day. Someone else created your priorities. Someone else created what you wear, perhaps. Someone else created what you're going to be working on every single day. and you don't have to build the plane. You just get in there and either you're riding in it or flying it, but it's already built. As an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, you're building it. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't even know where do these wheels go again? What's this flap for? What are all these gadgets in this cockpit? Like you were having to create everything and then try to fly in it. And
Mm.
so that's what entrepreneurship is like. And so there is so many things that like the HBC program was able to kind of help put in place to answer some questions, what and help prioritize what should I be focusing on and spending my time on that's actually going to create some returns on the investment. What should I not have to focus on, and really changing, just myths that people believe about entrepreneurship. Like I saw a meme that said, entrepreneurs are the only people that will quit a 40-hour-a-week job just to work 90 hours a week. I'm
I
like,
work for free sometimes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just, just don't see all the different hats you have to put on, from marketing to sales to developing your craft
Mm,
and your process and the steps of that process, and looking at going from intuition to an actual clearly articulated system and
mm,
process of transformation that you're going to take people through. That's that takes a lot of work, and to try to do that on your own, it's like it'd be frustrating. That's why I think a lot of people go back to the 9 to 5, just because it's safer. It's not what they want. It's not what they feel more fulfilled, but it's safer than trying to pioneer and chop down all those weeds in the forest just to create an oasis in a pasture.
oh my
So I think the stuff that you all provide at HBC helps kind of uh, accelerate that process and get people to getting some clients and serving people. What One of the things that you guys do is you help us identify fears, confront those fears, and overcome those fears. That's mainly it. I mean, you guys talk about having this unshakable identity and stuff, and I think fear is what limits people. I mean, even identifying limiting beliefs. What is it limiting? It's limiting how you show up in the world. It's
God.
limiting your experience. It's limiting your impact. And so to be able to help people overcome that and go from A to B, that they definitely change. It changes people's experience of life. I
Mm,
mean, it's life changing, not in a cliche way, but in an actual an actual way. Every time I send off a proposal, I'm due 2 more proposals I'm sending right now um, to some other people. I'm thinking of every single time. Every single time I look at those 5 digits, on that proposal, I remember our conversation where I didn't even want
oh
to
my
bring
God.
up 5,000, and now I'm sending a proposal for 77,000. Now I'm sending a proposal for 21,000. Now I'm sending a proposal, and it's getting accepted, accepted, accepted. I just got asked last week to go to UC Berkeley and help in their executive leadership training cohort to teach them the stuff that I'm teaching with my clients, because my clients were talking about me in this school. So now, and not just am I coaching and training a group of managers in child welfare services, now I've been invited to go to the school where they are learning how to be managers and learning emotional intelligence and transformational leadership, and coaching them and um, helping them understand these ideas that can help them be better leaders and better managers. It's just like I look, and only unless I tell people, they have no idea that I was that guy on a Zoom like this, and I'm like, Tina, but it's $5,000, and I don't know, And now I'm sending invoices. And I'm like, yeah, this is $7,000 for this day of training. You owe me 7,000 for this day of training, and it's crazy to me. It's crazy. My life definitely is changed. Like, it's not just my business, right? But my life has changed because I didn't start this business just to have a business. I started this business to be able to impact the world the way I feel like I can best impact the world, and the business is what's in between.
Mm,
And so helping me, and so that's what's changed my life. Like I was telling you in our conversation, it changed my business, but it changed my life because my business is like this mechanism, this vehicle of which I can help transfer the insight I have and the help that I can bring to people, and really my life impacting their life. And it just comes through that vehicle of my business. And so it's affecting schools. It's ultimately affecting families. Like
Wow.
I remember you saying one time, you said, um, what happens with these, because at the time I was working with pastors and churches, and I shifted. That's another thing. I shifted my target with one that is more best suited for me. It's really great. That's a whole nother conversation. But so yeah, you said if I don't help these people, if I'm not serving these pastors in these churches, what what happens to them? What happens to their impact? What happens? And I'm like, it's going to suffer. Like the community will be impacted by churches not doing what they need to be doing, and churches won't do what they can do if the pastoral leadership is stuck with their limiting beliefs. That's why I want to help them. So even though I've shifted to a couple of niches, it's ultimately the same thing. When
Mm,
I am coaching a school superintendent, when I'm coaching the directors of all the different principals, as I help them lead better, it leads to greater experiences of the principals and teachers in the school, which leads to academic success for the students, which leads to greater impact in the community. When
mm,
I'm helping a deputy director of child welfare services and the managers who oversee social workers that help keep kids safe, or maybe they need to take a kid out of a dangerous environment and put them in a safer environment. Um, and their processes that determine if a kid can go back to the parent or should go to a grandparent or whatever, if they're not working together as a team, then it has a community impact, right? A
mm,
kid can stay separated from their family for an extra extended period of time when it could have been shorter. Or court cases get held up because the team wasn't working together, so they didn't present their stuff well, or because they're not working together, details are missed,
mm.
and a wrong decision is made. A child is placed back into a home that they should not have been placed back into. And so to help these teams work together with workshops and then one-on-one coaching where
Mhm.
they're overcoming their limiting beliefs, they're working together better, the synergy of a child welfare system, if it works better, then kids are protected,
Mm.
families can be restored, then the community gets impacted. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like coaching these leaders ultimately leads to some kind of community impact, which is definitely that's a there's a sense of fulfillment there and purpose that I get by just seeing them being able to work together, by just helping in my piece. Like I'm not going to a house dealing with a domestic violence situation. I'm not doing all that kind of stuff. I'm helping them internally get their process together, work through their personal challenges, um, and working together as a team, their limiting beliefs, helping them overcome self-sabotage, helping them show up better as people and as managers so that the community that they serve can be best served. And so, man, as a matter of fact, even our conversation has been like a framework for me. If I can, because it happens so quick, there was such an impact in these an hour-long conversation, and just helping me identify what those fears were or limiting beliefs. And that's what I do now.
Mm.
That's what I do. I help people get unstuck. I help people see where the lies that they're believing that are just preventing them from being their best.
Yeah.
And that I've got a knack for it.
Yeah,
I've
you
got
do.
for and it's really helped people get unstuck really quickly, really quickly.
Wow.
I'm teaching coaching. I'm teaching leaders in school districts and child welfare how to coach each other. Um, and I remember with one high level uh, person who was high in the school district, and she had hired me to do a training for her 20 members of their team. And I said, okay, well, we're going to talk about coaching. I want you all to learn how to do just some simple coaching. You don't have to be a professional to learn how to do it. And so don't let it be intimidating. And I said, so who wants to volunteer? And she volunteered, like the leader of the whole group. She volunteered. And at first I was a bit nervous. I'm like, oh man, okay, now I got to really get this. I got to really get this right. And coaching can go kind of deep, and I don't know how deep this. And so I asked her. I said, okay, listen, this is really brave of you to highlight, to volunteer. And and she said, yeah, yeah, no problem. She said, I trust everyone in this room. And I thought, wow, okay, that's a big leadership move. So we did this live coaching session in front of her whole team. And it was a real issue, wasn't some made up scenario. And it was actually a dynamic that other people in the room knew about that was frustrating for her. And in about 20 minutes, she got breakthrough and had a whole new plan for how she's going to approach the person she was really upset at. It wasn't really about them. It was about somebody else
Mm,
that we, connect the dots. And so I won't go through the whole thing, but she got breakthrough in 20 minutes
wow.
of in front of everyone. And so that was a huge, huge thing. Even if it was just one-on-one, that breakthrough was like legit, but in front of everyone. But here's why I'm saying that, because it's one thing to do a one-on-one coaching and where there's not really a whole lot of accountability to, like, maybe you crush it, maybe you don't. You go, okay, well, I didn't do well on that one. I'll kind of recap or do it better the next time. But when you're trying to teach coaching to a group of people, the level of accountability of it is higher, and they're watching you, they're experiencing this whole thing. And so even then, I had to determine how I want to show up. Like if I do make a mistake, well then that's also part of coaching. What do you do when you make a mistake? Like I'm not even gonna be afraid to make the mistake.
Yeah,
If I make the mistake, then I'll also model for them what that mistake was and how you fix it. And but I could have chose to be afraid again,
right.
but I chose not to. And I'm telling Tina, I'm telling you, that whole fear thing for me, you helped me overcome the fear where even in that situation, I saw the potential for it and I chose something different. And it ended up being an amazing experience for all of us, for her, for the whole team, and for me. It's just, man, helping people overcome fears is a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. And you did that for me. And so I'm so grateful. It's just because I knew my potential, like I knew it was in there. I knew my competence, my experience. Like I knew what I could offer, but I just didn't. It was like looking through a glass wall. I
Mm,
can't move forward, and I didn't know why. And it was just that those different fears that just popped up.
wow.
And so, yeah, you helped me overcome and not just have this passion. I help people overcome their fears. It's not just coaching them through just stuff, but it's specifically targeting those fears because of how impactful that was for me and transformational that was for me. That's my target in every coaching session is those breakthroughs. Those
Wow.
breakthroughs. Well, so my wife decided to be a parent coach.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, she's a
Oh,
parent coach, helping, and I'm her number one client
yeah.
for sure. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, looking at conscious parenting and gentle parenting and the different parenting style, and man, there's so many ways um, that as people, whether we're leaders in business or parents at home, we're leading, right? We're leading at work, leading at home. It's leadership.
Yeah.
Raising children is leadership. Developing employees or inspiring them or whatever, that's leadership. So there's a lot of overlap. Think about self-awareness. The self-awareness you need and self-management you need
Mm,
from an emotional intelligence perspective as a parent, or as a leader or whatever, business owner. So there's a lot of overlap. So we have a lot of conversations about that. But yeah, so she decided she went through a couple of certifications. And so she's a certified parent coach. And so launching her out there. So there are conversations I have with her. And here's what's funny. What's funny is our enrollment calls, I talked to her the same day. I'm like, babe, I can't believe it. I had a conversation that cost me $5,000 because I didn't pull the trigger. Tina, I was talking with Tina, and Tina said, Tina, so then so then here recently, like last year when she's working through this stuff, I was like, listen, I remember from my conversation with Tina, this is what's going on. You had this fear of showing up, and this was good. And so listen, when I tell you I talk about you, I am not making up stuff. I'm for
Oh
real.
my gosh.
And but helping her, you know, make that leap from, okay, I know in my heart how I want to impact other parents, how I want to help other parents, but then there's this business side in there. What do I need to do? How do I show up online? How do I show up in these calls? And how do I show up? So I'm watching her go through those earlier baby steps, if you will, that I was going through. And so I was also kind of helping her do that. But yeah, to answer your question, so she's launched her parent coaching.
Oh wow.
Just had her first client. She's wrapping up her first client um, season with her, and she's going to go into like these group coaching and stuff. But yeah, my kids are 8, 5, and 3, all girls, and
Oh
so we're
wow.
in birthday season now. Yeah, March and April is birthday season, and so they're doing really really good. They're doing,
Oh.
and you know what? And I'm coaching my kids. I'm
Mhm.
coaching my kids, through some of their, the behavior challenges, and as they work through their own tempers and personalities, and how they work out conflicts. And is hitting your sister really what you want to do? Is that going to get you the results you want? What else can you do to kind of fix this, or kind of think about this a little different? I mean, there's just different. I think this as part of the power of what we do as coaches is helping people get over the hump, right?
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of potential stored up in a lot of people for a lot of different reasons.
Mhm.
And I think everyone is created for impact. Every single person is created for impact. But there are things that happen in our lives that where the world dumps dirt on us, and not everybody can climb out.
Mm.
Um, some people get stuck under there. Some people are able to get help, and they climb out, and others climb out to help others climb out. But I think coaching, it helps people climb out of whatever the shell they're in, or whatever dirt that's been piled up on them, so they can be the parent that they really want to be, the leader that they want to be, the entrepreneur, the politician, the educator, the social worker, whatever it is, so they
Yeah.
can actually be their very best self. And as coaches, we kind of help like I think it was Michelangelo when he said that he saw the stone or whatever, but he saw David in the stone before he carved out David. Like he said something to the effect of, I set like David free, right? Like he already saw it. And so I feel like that's us. Like we're kind of like wiping stuff off of people so
Mm.
they can really emerge in what and who they really are, in their identity, their power, their gifting. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.